Can you believe that an AI artist just signed a $3 million record deal? Because I don't believe it. There are so many headlines about the singer Xania Monet, who's an AI artist. And I'm going to say, as a music journalist, something about this doesn't seem right to me. But I want to break it down in this video. Let's get into it. Okay, today you are going to get into the mind of a music journalist. This is all alleged. I don't have any proof, but something about this Xania Monet deal, it just isn't sitting right with me. So let me catch you up. So Xania Monet is an AI-powered artist, and I'm going to use words like artist very loosely here. And she's the creation of a poet who utilized Suno, which is an AI technology, in order to create music. I listened to a few of the records. I'm going to show you a picture of what she looks like. Little bit of a cartoonish version of like an attractive young woman. The music is fine. It's what you expect. I really think that they must have used words like SZA and Beyonce and Normani and put that all into the AI, and this is what they got.
He didn't walk me down no stairs. Didn't warn me about them boys who wouldn't care. Didn't tell me what a real man sounds like.
It's not particularly inspired or anything that's really going to make you turn your head, aside from the fact that it's generated based on AI. And a $3 million deal. When I first heard this, that's what got my journalist like spidey sense tingling a little bit, because just off the top, $3 million is a significant amount of money. Like, just for like a reference point, a lot of distributors are giving artists, especially unknown artists who don't have a ton of streams, something like a $50,000 deal, or maybe a deal in like the low hundreds or $200,000. To go to $3 million means that you need to have something to back it up. So first and foremost, we talk about this on this channel. Just because something is reported as a $3 million deal does not mean that it's a $3 million deal. I've talked about this on a lot of videos, but we got to take that with a grain of salt. This is self-reported from the company Hallwood Media, who signed this artist. So we got to just take them at face value. The other part about record deals, and I think I've said this before, but if not, it bears repeating, the actual number really doesn't give you a lot of information. Most people think a $3 million deal means that the artist, or in this case, the creator behind the AI, just got a $3 million check. That is not true. Sometimes that means it's $3 million over the course of several albums or deliverables. Other times that number just means a deal valued at $3 million. So how could that break down? Let's say that the actual creator only gets, $500,000. And then the other 2.5 million is in services. So marketing valued at, 500,000. Publicity valued at 500,000. Like, you can kind of see how that breaks down. So these numbers are very, very not just speculative, but also incredibly ambiguous. But let's just take it at face value that, okay, $3 million was exchanged from this company, Hallwood Media, to this creator. But why would they do that? So Billboard Biz actually had a really good article recently breaking down some of the numbers. And a lot of this is still speculation because we don't know how the splits are on the backside. So what does that mean? Just because a song has, let's say, 5 million streams, how does that break down? Does Suno, the technology platform it was created on, what percentage are they getting? What percentage is the writer getting? Where kind of are these rights breaking down? Who owns the master? Who owns the copyright? In the world of AI, all of this is really unknown because we really are charting brand new territory. But if we are going to use some of Billboard's own numbers, and I'm going to put them up on the screen, this is nowhere near $3 million. Like, this would be an artist, and again, I'm using that term very loosely, who maybe would get a deal at like the low hundreds, maybe $200,000-$300,000 advance. Like, that's where this person should be, not $3 million. So already, even if we are to treat Xania Monet as a real artist, $3 million doesn't make sense. So that's number one. The minute I saw that $3 million number, already I started getting really I started questioning it. And, as journalists, this is just what we do. So I'm taking you kind of inside the thought process. But I want you to let me know what you think, because as we go along in this video, there's just some other things that really are giving me some pause. So the next thing is Hallwood Media. So I had never heard of this company in my life. So when I'm hearing that an artist, and again, AI artist, is signing to a record label, I'm thinking one of the big major labels or an indie, maybe a distributor. This is a company I've literally never heard of in my life. So me as a journalist, I go on their website. And as you can see on this website, this company is very, very vague, to say the least. This is their tagline: discovering and developing the most talented musicians in the world. Okay, that's a lofty promise, but who exactly do you represent? So here we're just seeing, their recordings, they got distribution, they're independent artists, they're an accelerator, they're a label. So it's sort of like you do everything, but yet I've never heard of you. And here we're starting to see a few familiar faces. There's YG, there's will.i.am, who, by the way, big proponent of AI, so just kind of keep that in mind as we go through this video. And then you keep scrolling. So they call themselves a full-service artist management, and they say they have over 100 artists, producers, and songwriters on their roster. I don't know. To me, that seems like numerically impossible. 100 artists, producers, and songwriters, unless they're just signing like anyone, that anyone can be rep by them. That doesn't make sense. Think about other management companies, people like, Sal & Co. or Rock Nation. They have way more resources, way more reach, and they don't have, hundreds of people on their management roster. Management specifically, I think if it said their roster across the board, including like distribution, for example, that number would make sense, because if it was like sort of a DIY distribution platform where anyone can sign up, you can hit that 100 number. But management, like, are there 100 plus people being actively managed? So that to me was a little bit strange. And then according to their website, they have over 250 gold and platinum records. Again, where are these numbers coming from? Maybe, they have them, but just looking at the artists that we saw, unless you're including all of their back catalog, for will.i.am, are we including all of like the Black Eyed Peas? Like at their heyday when they were doing probably, diamond selling records. Okay, but still, this is like a big numbers coming from a company that, I've never heard of. Let me know in the comments if you've heard of this company, because I definitely haven't. So then I went on Google just to get more information, and it looks like Hallwood is owned by former Geffen Records president Neil Jacobson. Okay, so that seems to be like a legitimate person in the industry, but I still have some questions about what is going on with this company and where are they getting $3 million to conceivably give to an artist that isn't even an artist. So then I wanted to search what else Hallwood has done in the AI space. So I looked up Hallwood Media and Suno, Suno being a very sort of, active AI technology that they're really trying to push in the industry and in the press. This was interesting. So in July 2025, the end of July, Hallwood signed a deal with, and I hope I'm saying this name right, I'm Oliver, like I think that's how you say the name. And that's an AI creator that was created on Suno. So this is something that was run in the Hollywood Reporter. And the way that it's being framed is this is sort of the first deal with an AI creator. So already from the beginning, it's clear that Hallwood is really putting a stake in AI. This is something that they want to be known for. So this is what Hallwood's founder and CEO Neil Jacobson said, according to Hits Daily Double at the time. I'm Oliver represents the future of our medium. He's a music designer who stands at the intersection of craft and taste. As we share his journey, the world will see the dexterity behind his work and what makes it so special. And at the time, this I'm Oliver, and I hope I'm saying it right, had a breakout record that had amassed 3.2 million streams on Suno. and it wasn't available anywhere else. So already, like, let's just think about it. The music business right now is obsessed with numbers. They want to go for a sure thing. What are they always telling artists? How many followers do you have? What's your fan base? What are you and your management team already doing? Nobody wants to take a risk. So why would you sign this artist? Again, artist, this AI creator who only has 3 million streams on Suno and hasn't even proven himself or itself on any other platform. So as a journalist, I'm already kind of looking at this like, wait a minute, this feels like Hallwood is really invested in Suno. And I don't know if they are financially or otherwise, but they're putting very much a lot of their belief that Suno as the platform is able to launch these AI artists. You might be wondering, why would a company even say that they're investing $3 million in an AI artist? They haven't really proven themselves. I mean, I don't know about you. I'd never heard of this Xania Monet person in my life. And after looking at the imagery, looking at, listening to the music, it's not particularly good. So why would a company, especially a new company, put such a stake in this? And this is where I'm going to editorialize, and this is my opinion. I really believe that these companies, especially AI companies, need a win in the music business, because all we're hearing every day is how AI is going to replace artists, rappers, producers, songwriters. Like, that is what we are being told every single day. I don't know about you. I have yet to see or hear anything that leads me to believe that. Everything is basically a mimic or imitation of something that came before it. The music is fine. It's not particularly compelling or interesting. It looks like a robot machine made it, and it looks like somebody with no artistic ability created it. And I think the problem is, for a lot of these AI companies, they need to show a case study where it's proven that these AI creations are marketable, they're commercially viable. And one way to do that is by drumming up these kind of deals. Because let's take a step back. Notice it's not a major label signing Xania Monet. There's no talk of like a bidding war or other distributors that were interested. And not to say that they may not be, but again, when it comes to the financials and the legality, we're still in a very new place with AI. And I think most companies, although they're kind of clamoring because everyone wants to find ways to, basically replace humans and make a ton of money, no one wants to look crazy. And it kind of reminds me of when Capitol Records put out that, I guess you'd call it, virtual rapper. And it was such a disaster. It was a PR disaster. It really showed that those people who were greenlighting some of these decisions, they didn't understand hip hop. They sure didn't understand the market. And just because you feed us something and tell us it's great doesn't mean that it's great or that consumers will be okay with it. And as quickly as they announced it, they quickly took it away. And I feel like with Suno specifically, they need a win. And this is my own personal take, I think that they're working with these companies. Like, we need to work together to show that this makes sense. And the hope is, because Xania Monet got so much press, most of it negative, but still, all publicity is good publicity. The hope is probably that more creators start using Suno, that more legitimate labels and management companies and distribution companies, they start clamoring to go to Suno and start looking for who's buzzing and signing those artists. That's what it almost feels like. It's almost like circular reasoning. You know what you want to get to, like, which is that AI music is good and makes money and the industry needs to take notice. So you reverse engineer it. I have no kind of insights if Hallwood and Suno are in business together. Just as a quick aside, a lot of labels and music companies actually do have investment in tech companies. Just something to think about. It's, you saw it in the streaming age. I'm sure you're going to start to see it now. And some have actually come forward and said, we are investing in AI companies. So don't be surprised if you see more of these type of deals being announced. But To me, when I just first read this and did a little bit of digging, it just seems off to me. Like, none of this makes sense from a financial perspective, even from an optics perspective. It's one thing if this was an artist I kept hearing about. Like, everyone's talking about Xania Monet. Somehow these records are going viral. But that's not true. Like, I had to look up all of this. And as somebody in the music industry, things tend to come across my desk pretty early. And right now, the only people I know talking about AI music and pushing AI music are AI companies. Like, I have yet to hear any real artists, producers, songwriters pushing for AI. And as I've often said, I'm not against AI. I think if artificial intelligence is able to make a human job easier without replacing humans, I think that's great. I'm all for AI replacing kind of redundancies or kind of busy work, but AI can't replace somebody's soul. And I know that's the goal, right? At some point, AI needs to just like put human beings out of business and make them extinct. But I don't believe in that. And to me, the best art, whether it's music, film, television, books, it still comes from a human. It's the human experience, the way our minds work, which isn't always kind of linear or scientific. That's what makes us human. Like, we're messy, we're broken, we're contradictory, like we live in the gray area. That's what makes for great art. And the idea of just taking other successful artists, putting it into an algorithm and spitting something out, that's plagiarism. That's not something unique and interesting. And I think it's very clear from the type of AI artists that we've seen pushed so far, these are not interesting. They don't come from true artistry or from a place of any kind of soul. You look at this artist, I mean, first and foremost, the name makes no sense because we already have Victoria Monet. So already from an SEO perspective, that's a fail. And then just looking at sort of like the design, yes, it's a very pretty image, but we specifically, like fans and especially women, we want to see like a real woman. Like, we're so used to seeing the filters and, people sort of looking very distorted and cartoonish. I'd rather see like a beautiful but imperfect young person than this, where there's not a pore to be seen. The face has, the perfect geometrical proportions. Like, who made this? And even if you look at the song titles or listen to some of the content, it actually feels very cliche. There is no depth whatsoever. And the reason that we connect to music specifically and artists is because of that shared humanity and empathy, and just feeding lyrics into into an AI technology is not going to give you that. Furthermore, as we saw, this company really is pushing merch. An AI artist cannot go on tour. And I know that some, tech wizard is already working on virtual touring and ways that we can just sort of distance ourselves from other human beings. But after the pandemic, I think we can all agree we want human contact. We want those in-person connections. That's how you build a fan base. Why do you think people are paying $1,000 to see a Beyonce or Taylor Swift or go to a Chris Brown meet and greet? That's because those fans have a visceral, emotional connection to the human behind the records. And I think the problem here is we almost want fans, especially young fans, the next generation, to fall in love with something that isn't real. And as I've said before, I think when I was talking about AI in my Timbaland video, something about like these tech people who are mostly men for the most part, creating female avatars and having them do anything they want, it gives me the creeps. Like, I cannot be the only one who's watched Black Mirror. Like, we know how this story ends, and it's not good for humans. Those are my thoughts about this AI artist, Xania Monet, getting a $3 million deal. Let me know. I mean, this video is kind of all over the place, but I want to know if you agree with any of these points. And this is just a little insight in how music journalists think. Like, I'm just at a place where just because the headline says something, I'm all about doing the research and fact checking And sometimes if things don't look right, you gotta, look under the hood and get to the truth. But that's kind of how I'm feeling. I would love to know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think that signing these AI artists is a good look for music? Do you think that there's actually a little bit of, I don't want to say conspiracy, but let's say an agenda for these AI companies and tech companies to show that they're getting a win in order to legitimize themselves and their technology? And most of all, have you heard Xania Monet's music and will you listen to it? Spoiler alert, it's not very good, but I would love to know your thoughts. Let me know in the comments.